Are you trusting your summer comfort to Puxatawny Phil? While historically Phil is only 35% accurate, Premier 100% knows summer's on the way. Get $2,000 off a new HVAC unit when you buy select High Seer energy efficient units from Premier Heating and Air. Join the Premier Club for $99 and get a free Wi-Fi thermostat. Club membership includes 20% off repairs, priority booking, annual cleaning and inspection. Call today and learn more about club benefits. Call 478-300-2633 or log on to premierishere.com. Experience a Premier difference today. A locally owned and operated company.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not used to a spotlight. Whew, it's different up here. First of all, I just want to call your attention to the screen. If none of you have heard about the First Lady of Georgia camellias, this is one that is planted at the railroad park. And we can thank our mayor, Joshua Cott, for taking this picture and making this slide for us. But these are 1 of 10. At this time, we have Tammy Waverick, the past co-chair of the 2024 St. Patrick's Festival, to do a special proclamation.
Thank you. And I would like to welcome my family that's visiting with us. So I'm a little extra nervous today. But here we go. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. By the power vested in me, by the order of the Blarney Stone, the order of the Shillelagh, and Irish folks of all the land, I hereby proclaim this Irish Ramble by the Erin Garden Club an official event of the 61st Annual Dublin Lawrence St. Patrick's Festival. Erin Gabra.
For those of you who do not know me, I'm Melody Smith, and I'm the Camellia District Director of the Garden Club of Georgia, Incorporated. Camellia District Garden Clubs, Garden Club of Georgia, and Erin Garden Club of Dublin welcome you to the Historic Landscape Preservation Grant Fundraiser. It's a special, beautiful day just for you to enjoy your ramble. If you will please, as I call your name, please stand as you are introduced. Barbara Jones, Historic Landscape Preservation for Camellia District Chairperson. Is she here?
Yeah.
Ms. Jones, just keep standing. Okay. Cheryl Briscoe, the Garden Club of Georgia, Chairman of the Historic Land Preservation. And the Garden Club of Georgia, President Diane Hunter. Thank you. A very special group, the committee who did the planning and the work for this special event. Would you all please stand? Amy Gay, Gina Moses, who are our co-chairs, Ashley Torpy, Sarah Colby, y'all can wave if you need to, Jane Garbett, Susan Wilson.
You probably got this.
And I think that's all. Thank you. Some of these ladies are not here because they're already at the houses waiting for you. Thank you all for being here, purchasing a ticket. You're the ones that has made today a success. What I'd like to do for just a minute, those of you who may not even know what the Historic Landscape Preservation Grant is for. I'm sorry, but I'm having to block that light so I can see y'all. But anyway, the grant is through the Garden Club of Georgia. Garden Club ladies do a lot more than flower shows and planting flowers. You'll be surprised at all the projects that we have. And I encourage you to go to our Garden Club of Georgia website just to see all the various projects we do. But the Historic Land Preservation basically is a grant that any 501c3 or a government entity can apply for a grant for a landscape preservation for landscape that is at least 50 years old. The grant is a $3,000 match grant. And guess what? The City of Dublin is applying for one. And it is going to be, the grant is for the old city cemetery behind the First Methodist Church, which is on our tour today. So your money, some of your money is going to come right back here to Dublin. I hope, Miss Briscoe. Okay. I make my notes, but I like to talk and see people's faces better. At this time, our President, Diane Hume, will come with special presentations.
Thank you so much. This is a real treat for me because some of you may already know this. I actually grew up in Dublin from the age of 10 till I went to college. So this is quite a treat, and I am just thrilled with Dublin and how it's developed, and I am just sad that my parents aren't here to see it, honestly. It's fabulous. I wanted to present this certificate. We present certificates to recognize people, but it really doesn't convey the amount of work that goes into putting on one of these events. So this is a certificate, but know that behind this certificate is a lot of gratitude, a lot of hard work, a lot of creativity. So please join me in presenting and honoring the Camellia District with a Certificate of Achievement for hosting the Garden Club of Georgia Annual Historic Preservation Fundraiser in the city of Dublin, Georgia. Your efforts will ensure that historic landscapes in our state are preserved for future generations. The hard work of the Garden Club and all committee members, and especially District Director Melody Smith, exemplifies your dedication to our motto, which is beautification, conservation, and education. Got it, Linda? And I do have something for the mayor. So if he would come up really quickly. Again, this is such a gracious group to honor us. We have a certificate of appreciation honoring the city of Dublin, Georgia, for allowing our annual historic preservation fundraiser to be held in the city of Dublin, Georgia as part of the renowned St. Patrick's Festival. Your historic city is an apt backdrop for promoting the preservation of Georgia's historic landscapes. Our organization is grateful for your gracious hosting of our event. Thank you so much. So everybody have fun. I'm going to turn it back to Melody. Thanks, Melody.
For those of you from Dublin and you went to Dublin High School, Diane was Diane Capelli, graduated in 1973.
Thank you for taking it.
Hey, we're there together, don't worry about it. I do want to share with you, we have some very, very special guests here, and they came a very long way to attend this event today. They are from our sister city, Osaka, Japan. They happen to be here this week, and they are guests in our group. If y'all will, please stand so we can recognize you. They're over in the center, right up here. So I feel like we'll be I hope we're the only one in the state that we can say we had international guests to attend our historic landscape preservation. Okay, at this time, I would like to thank, first of all, our mayor, Joshua Cott. He and the City of Dublin, to its City Council and to its employees for their continuing support of our garden clubs here in Dublin. We're fortunate to have these people in Dublin. Thank you, Mayor Kite. And it has been he has a wonderful knowledge about the history of Dublin. He's going to come and share this with you. After he is finished, Sarah Colby will come up, who's a member of the Erin Garden Club, Woman of the Year for Dublin, and one of our wonderful City Council members. Erin Garden Club is blessed and thankful to have Sarah on board with us. But she'll come and she'll give you any kind of directions you may need, information, announcements, and all. And when she's finished, we're going to draw for one person to receive all of this. And we have had several people that have had unexpected deaths. Some people that just could not come today because called during the week. And if they're not here, we're still going to hold it for them and we'll get it to them some way or another. But one person will get this. And this is from our merchants, restaurants here in Dublin. The value is over $1,250 for one person. So Josh, and after all that, you're on your own tour and go wherever you want to, wherever you want to begin.
All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Dublin, Georgia. It is my honor to greet you on behalf of the City of Dublin and the citizens of Dublin to our beautiful community. Melody asked me to give a few remarks about the history of Dublin, just so as you are walking around town and looking at the various buildings, you'll have an idea of the context in which these buildings were built. So I'm going to do that, but first I want to show you a slide and see if anybody recognizes this picture. You're all with garden clubs, right? Does anybody know where this is? This is the Founders Garden at the University of Georgia. This was the headquarters of the Garden Club of Georgia through the 1990s. Now, as a student at the University of Georgia, you may be wondering, why in the world did I care about the Founders Garden at the University of Georgia? Well, it was in the middle of North Campus, it still is there, and it was the quietest place on campus. And I used to enjoy going there and reading my books for my English class, in particular my Southern Literature class. And one day at the Founders Garden, you can go to the next slide, please. I was sitting on that bench, which is pretty private, and I looked across and there was another table, and at that table was my Southern Literature professor, and he was smoking a cigarette. And he said to me, and I went over and said hi to him, and he said, at the University of Georgia, it is unusual indeed for a student reading Faulkner to catch a professor smoking a cigarette. So that's my history with the Garden Club of Georgia. I thought you might appreciate that. We can go to the next slide. So I just wanted to share with you a short history of Dublin, Georgia. I promise I'm not going to keep you too long, but how many of you are from small towns in Georgia? Okay, so there are a lot of people from small towns in Georgia. That means that the history that I'm about to share is probably very similar to the history of your own community. If we look at the where all this came from, it was the purchase of land from Creek Indian tribes that occurred in the 1770s to around 1804. Those Indian purchases were based on rivers, the Savannah River to the Ogeechee River, the Ogeechee to the Ohoopee to the Oconee, to the Ocmulgee, to the Flint, and the Chattahoochee. Now, if you were going to think about the harmony of those names, the Flint River really is an outlier. You know, you've got Ocmulgee, Ohoopee, Ogeechee, Chattahoochee, and Flint. But in any case, if you look at the Indian cessations during that time period, you can see that Dublin sits between the 1790 and 1804 secessions. And the city of Dublin is on the Oconee River, which is really, pretty close to here if you haven't seen that. In these areas, the state divided up the land into 200 and 2.5 acre land lots. And they had a lottery system in the 1800s where if you were a citizen of the United States, or especially if you were a veteran of one of the wars, then you had a right to put your name into a barrel, and then they would pull the names, and then they would connect it to a land lot. And so now anybody who's interested in property, you can still see these 200 acre land lots in all these areas that are to the west of the Oconee River. Now, to the east of the Oconee River, it was a different system. It was called the headright system. But usually the land that is to the west of the Oconee River is divided into roughly 200 acre segments. Now, that was a lot of people that were starting to pour into Georgia. And some people think, well, Savannah was the first city, so this must have been the port of entry for the immigrants into Middle Georgia. That's not the case. Do you know where these immigrants actually came from? They came from Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and then into Middle Georgia. They followed the Piedmont down to the farming areas and the agricultural areas that were at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. As the soil ran out, or as they had bigger families, they tried to get new land. So this area, if you can go to the next slide, these are the early trails that the Indians had and the early settlers had. And you can see in Middle Georgia, they mostly run east-west along that Piedmont area as the settlers were following the agricultural lands. They were blocked in the north by the mountains and in the south by the pine barrens. So most of the population of Georgia was coming in from the Carolinas into this middle section of Georgia as farmers. Now, as these settlers came in, the state legislature said we need to provide law and order. So we want to have county seats for each of the counties that we're forming out of the Indian lands. If you can go to the next slide. These were planned towns. They were laid out on various types of grid systems. The grid system of the city of Dublin follows what's called the Sparta Plan. Now, if you've been to Savannah or Washington or many other towns, you see that the courthouse is placed in a way where the roads go along the edges. In the Sparta Plan, the main road goes into the center of the square. Now, why would that be? It's normally done when you have a county seat that is placed in a dramatic location at the top of a hill. And they wanted to be able to have a courthouse at the top of the hill that you could walk up to or ride up to with a dramatic view. And if any of you have been to Sparta or are from Sparta, that is one of the prime examples of how you ride up the hill and the courthouse looms above the town, and it's really beautiful. In Dublin, usually the Sparta-type plans are used further north where it's more mountainous, but Dublin rises from the Oconee River. It's high ground just off the river. So it has the same dramatic view, so the town planners adopted the Sparta-type plan for the planning of this community. So when you're looking around Dublin, you'll see that the courthouse is central to the road. If you switch to the next slide, our local historian Scott Thompson drew this out. This was the early plan of the city of Dublin, and you can see it came from the Oconee River up Jackson Street to the courthouse square. And this was basically the way Dublin looked for its first 80 years. If you can flip to the next one. So 1880, about 500 people. 1890, about 500 people. Is anybody from Madison here? Okay, so if anybody's from Madison, you may know that Madison claims to be the town too beautiful to burn, Sherman did not burn Madison because it was too beautiful. Sherman did not burn Dublin because there was nothing worth burning here. So Dublin's history is not one that is from the Civil War period. This area, there's almost nobody here. As a matter of fact, the town of Dublin was really looked down upon as really just the place where the drunkards would go to the bar and have a drink and get drunk, and occasionally a boat would come up the river. The people who lived in the community were actually farmers outside the city limits of Dublin. Now, something happened, as you can see, between 1890 and 1900. The population goes from about 500 people to somewhere around 3,500 in less than 10 years. So what could that be? If you can flip to the next slide. Railroads. Yes, this was the most important event in the history of Dublin. Between 1892 and 1900, 5 railroads located through Dublin. Now, we're on a central point with the Oconee River. We do have at that time we had steamboat access for transporting goods, but really the world ran on railroads at that time. What the railroads did was connect a massive agricultural area in middle Georgia to the rest of the world. And once the railroads came through Dublin, it allowed all these farmers who were out in the county, Lawrence County, all the surrounding counties, to be able to get their goods to market. And that good that they were getting to market was primarily cotton. Now, what's interesting is that if you are from north of here, if you are from the Piedmont area that's a little bit north of here, the cotton plantations were in the period of 1800 to 1865, 1870. After the Civil War, northern land barons came in to this area of Georgia, south of the Piedmont, and we're right on the border, and they cut all the trees. And after they cut all the trees, it actually allowed the farmers to go from subsistence farming and sheep herding and cattle herding to actually planting row crops. But that didn't happen in this part of Georgia until the 1770s, 1780s, and then really boomed once the railroads connected those cash crops to the markets in the rest of the world. So what happened was Dublin became the center place for the transportation of agricultural goods out of middle Georgia to markets around the world. If you can flip to the next slide. And this created what's called the golden era of Dublin. And most of the historic places that you'll be looking at today were built between roughly 1895 and 1920, during this time period where Dublin had merchants. If you can go to the courthouse slide, right there. So what does any bustling, new, booming town need? It needs a beautiful, big courthouse. This courthouse was designed by famous Georgia courthouse architect Go Lucky. Now, I don't know if anybody is here from Rome, Georgia. Rome just lost in its courthouse in the fire, its courthouse, which was also designed by Go Lucky at the same time period, 1895 to 1900. Go Lucky was a tremendous public architect, and this was one of the finest courthouses in the state of Georgia, and I'll show you what happened to that in a moment. It was a real loss to Rome and to the state of Georgia when the Floyd County courthouse burned recently. If you can flip to the next slide. So a bustling town needs a courthouse, it needs businesses, it needs merchants, it needs banks, it needs people who can make the deals to send the cotton to Brunswick or to Savannah. If you can flip to the next slide, it needs brick streets. The streets were bricked around 1900. Now, they were later covered up by asphalt, and in the last 2 years, the city of Dublin has pulled that asphalt off and tried to expose the original brick. If you have been down Madison Street yet, you may say, wow, this looks really good for a 120-year-old brick. It's because it's not a 120-year-old brick. As it turned out, there were too many utility cuts that had been done when it was still brick roads and afterwards that we were not able to salvage the original bricks. But we did the next best thing, is we put in new bricks all down Madison Street. And those bricks, hopefully, will be a benefit to our community for 100 years or more. If you've been to Savannah, you see how beautiful the brick streets are in Savannah. And it also slows down traffic and makes it more pedestrian friendly. If you can flip to the next slide. Is anyone here from Thomasville, Georgia? Thomasville is very lucky because Thomasville still owns its electric utility, and that's why they have almost no taxes in the city of Thomasville. Dublin started an electrical utility in the early 1900s, but we sold out. So now all we get is the Georgia Power franchise fee, which isn't bad. We appreciate our Georgia Power friends. The next slide, please. So this is Dublin in that early period. You can see the huge number of businesses throughout the downtown. Next slide, please. That's from 1920. And then if you flip to the next slide, it's not just the commercial district. There are a lot of people who have made a lot of money trading and selling, and they wanted nice places to live. So just out of downtown was the row of mansions on Bellevue. This is an early look. I think you can see that may be an early vehicle there on the side of the road that has electricity, so we're probably talking the 1910s, 1920s here. It was a row of these neoclassical Greek Revival style mansions. So if you are in communities in North Georgia, these buildings will date to the 1840s to the 1860s. If you are in southern areas of that, where the cotton crops didn't come in until after the Civil War, you're going to see that these are going to date between 1895 and 1920. So these are not the actual sort of Gone with the Wind style mansions. These are a merchant class that was trying to take on the heirs of the old antebellum planters. But they're beautiful. There's no doubt that they're beautiful. If you can flip to the next slide, and I know that there are going to be several of those that you'll have an opportunity to visit today. So in addition to, you can see this is the one we saw before, the street going up to the courthouse. And if you flip to the next, what do you need on the other side of that? Well, in this photo, you can see where the courthouse is at the bottom, and it's anchored at the other end by what looks to be City Hall. At the time, it was actually the Dublin Academy. It was a school. If you can flip to the next slide. The first thing, this was in the period before there was really, this was before the Golden Era. The first lodge hall was what anchored the other side of the street, basically where we are right now. When I say lodge hall, the free and accepted Masons. As you look at the history of any small town, it's really kind of amazing how often you see the influence that Masonic lodges had in the 19th century. The upstairs was used as the lodge, and the downstairs was used as a school. If you can flip to the next. So after that, what happened after that lodge was moved? Well, I was looking on the old maps. This was the Sanborn Fire Insurance map from 1898, and I saw a reference to H&L and hose reel. I thought, what is H&L? Does anybody? Hook and ladder. Hook and ladder. It clicked for me in one moment. It's like hook and ladder. And what did it was, I don't know if you can see it here, there's a well behind that building. So that was the fire department. And they placed a well behind the fire department. And I don't know what apparatuses they had. Apparently they had a hook and a ladder and a hose reel. So we have no photos of the hook and ladder or the fire department there, Dublin's first fire department. But after the fire department came this. Next slide, please. The Carnegie. The Carnegie Library is what you see outside today. And I believe that that's on your stop. If you flip to the next slide, please. Andrew Carnegie, as most of you know, was a philanthropist, one of the richest people in the world. And there are thousands of Carnegie libraries across the world. Dublin was fortunate, if you can flip to the next slide, to apply for a $10,000 grant from Andrew Carnegie. He replied and said, if you will supply the books and a $10,000 match and the land to put it on, we will build you a library. And that's what happened. The city council, this is from our actual meeting minutes, established the land where the Carnegie would go and provided the $10,000, which was a lot of money back then. And then this building was built. If you can flip to the next slide. It was a library for, I think, until the 1960s, 1950s. Flip to the next slide. All right, and then in front of the library, many of you have seen already the statue that's outside. Do you notice something about this photograph? It's hard to see, but it looks like the unveiling of the statue, right? Do you see the big drape that's over it that they're pulling off with ropes? Well, that wasn't just like a ceremony that happened one day. It was covered in that drape for 3 years. The statue was completed in 1909 at the incredible cost of $500, which the citizens of Dublin did not have, or did not did not come up with. So the Italian artist who created the sculpture said, we've got the sculpture installed, but you can't publicly display it until I'm finished receiving my payment. So for 3 years, the statue was draped, and it was an embarrassment to the community because the community was growing, the community was prosperous, but they couldn't come up with enough money to pay the Italian artist. So finally, in 1912, they raised the last dollar. And one of the problems was that when they did the statue, they limited donations to $1 person because they didn't want any one person to take credit for it. So that kind of made sense until you spend 3 years waiting for the next dollar. So if you want to flip to the next slide, the statue is 35 feet tall. The base of it is made from Georgia marble, and the soldier at the top of it is from Italian marble. The soldier statue was crafted in Italy and shipped over to Dublin. There's something else about this photo that's kind of interesting. I'm going to show you this one and then 2 more. And I just want you to see the difference in them. Can you flip to the next? And then the next? What do you notice? Trees, exactly. Look what a difference the tree-lined road makes. Can you go back to that first one? We can go back a couple. You see there's some trees there, but there's none that are along the front where the people are standing. And if you go to the next slide, you can see that there was a concerted effort to do a row of trees along the streets. Now, one of the things that I'm a big advocate for trees in a community, and Dublin has planted over 1,000 trees in the last 4 years, and they're mostly street trees. So as you're walking around Dublin, especially like on Church Street or around the First Methodist Church, you'll see lots of new trees in the ground. And we're very proud of that. It's going to take a long time before they become fully mature, but you've got to start somewhere. So I thought that this was interesting to see what happens over a period of time with the trees. If you want to keep flipping, I think I'm taking longer than I'm supposed to. So let me try to speed this up a little bit. Next one.
Hey, step.
Where did it all go wrong? Next photo. I see some farmers in our audience. The boll weevil. The boll weevil destroyed the cotton crops. So from basically 1917, when Lawrence County was the leading cotton producer in the state of Georgia, to 1920, where there was practically no cotton production left. Everybody went bankrupt, the banks failed, the population declined, and the town basically went through a 60-year period of depression. You can flip to the next. These buildings were lost. Keep going. We're going to just kind of speed it up a little bit. It became a parking lot in 1958. Keep going. You can see it being torn down in this photo. The city jail was also torn down, as you can see there. The courthouse, not enough money to maintain it, bad condition, and you can see what happened to that. Total loss. It wasn't until 1990 that the boll weevil was eradicated in the state of Georgia and cotton began planting again. But it was too late for many communities that depended on that for their livelihood. Next photo, please. That's my aunt, Theresa Flanders, if anybody's there. And in the 1950s, we had industry come into town. That was the J.P. Stevens plant, which was the largest employer in our community for a long time. This is probably familiar to many of you who are in small towns in Georgia, the same cycle. The new era of revitalization, this is what you're going to see today, if you can flip to the next. The Corker building started like this in 1898, and then it became this, J.C. Penney, and then it became this, Esquire Wick Fashions. And then, through efforts of the Downtown Development Authority, we uncovered the original facade, and this is what it looks like today. Yeah, that's a great one. Next slide. That was our skyscraper building. That's what we call the local skyscraper, one of the tallest buildings between Macon and Savannah. And you saw what happened to it and then what it is today through a revitalization effort in 2013. Can you flip back one more just so you can see if the one right before this, do you see how terrible it was on the right? It was amazing how awful it had. It was basically a drug den. And now it's beautiful and a real tribute to our town. Next slide, please. The Henry Building started like this, and then it turned into that. Good. And now it is like this. Yeah, that was another great one. The Curry family did that. Next slide, please. And then you'll see buildings like the Lovett Mansion, I guess it was the Rents Mansion at the time, that has been revitalized to that. I think this is on your tour. Next, please. This is one of my favorite buildings along Bellevue. It's just very understated and classical looking. That's the home of the Christian family businesses now. Next slide. And then, of course, you can't just stop with revitalizing what's old. You have a duty to be a caretaker, but also an improver. So one of the things that we've done is add plazas into our downtown environment. So this is the Bicentennial Plaza for the 200th anniversary of our community. And then the next slide is the Jackson Street Plaza, where we put arches in across the front to evoke the arches that were all over downtown Dublin from that period of 1900 to 1920. And then the next slide, please. And this is our downtown today, a mix of old and new, respectful of the past, but always willing to move forward. I appreciate you guys so much for coming to Dublin. And I hope you have a wonderful time in our community.
Thank y'all. Listen, y'all have a wonderful day. Today is all about you. You do what you want to do. Have fun. Go at your own pace. You can walk. And one more little tidbit. I am going to have a mic on me from now to 3 o'clock. So as I see you, I'm going to say, hey, I want to talk to you just a second. So don't be camera shy.
S&S Western Boots, family owned and proudly serving Middle Georgia. Step into the spirit of the West with authentic Western and urban wear, handcrafted exotic boots, custom hats, belts, and so much more. So whether you're dressing for work, the weekend, or the rodeo, S&S has the quality and style you're looking for. We're family owned and community strong, right here in Dublin at 1951 Highway 441 South. Call 478-279-0398 and step into a look that's all your own. Don't forget, it's S&S Western Boots, Highway 441 South in Dublin. S&S Western Boots, authentic, bold, and unforgettable.
We are on our way with Diane Capelli Hunter and Linda Dorian with the State Garden Club. And so we are fixing the track. We're going to start at the end and come to the beginning. So we'll see y'all along the way. Well, we have made our first arrival. We are at the Beckham House, number 10 on our list. I can't go in until I can get permission for either to come in, or if I can't go in, I am going to bring somebody out to tell us the history about the Beckham House. Stay tuned, just give us a second. I just want to share with you a little bit about the Beckham House. This house, as you can see, it's a little bungalow. But look how wonderful and beautiful it is, and that they have restored it to its finest. It was built in 1930, and it had been in the Beckham family for 2 generations. And the family just recently sold it about a year ago, and the Outlaws are now the owners of this beautiful restoration. So, as I wished I could, but you're only going to get to see the outside of this house. Enjoy.
I'm Denise Best from McRae, Georgia.
Okay. And you just told me this is your first visit.
Yes.
And that you stopped at the estate sale that's
Yes.
down on the corner.
Yes, we did.
Good for
did.
you on Stonewall
Liz
and
actually purchased a vase there.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And Liz Jarvis Fabian, Channel 13 News.
Do what now?
Liz is Channel 13 News. She's my cousin.
Well, my goodness.
She needs to be
Hey,
here.
let's get Liz out here. I hear, Liz, I hear you are with a station that just about everybody in Lawrence County looks at every day at lunchtime and every day at 6 o'clock. I'm asleep in the morning, so I don't know about that early. Will you tell us who you are and
Sure.
where you're from?
I'm Liz Fabian, and I'm the Civic Journalism Senior Fellow at the Center for Collaborative Journalism, and I still partner with 13 WMAZ and do reports for them every Monday evening, and once a month I interview our Mayor of Macon.
Wonderful. It's great to have a celebrity here in Dublin. Anybody from Channel 13 is a celebrity.
Well,
Glad
thank
to
you
have
so
you,
much.
and
It's
hope
great
you
to
enjoy.
be here.
And
I'm also the president of our Shirley Hills Garden Club.
Wonderful.
So we're part of the Camellia District.
You sure
so we
are.
are here to represent and to also to support our fellow garden club members.
Well, great, and we're glad to have y'all, and y'all enjoy the day.
And pardon my pink, we're in the middle of our cherry
Y'all are
blossom
cherry
festival.
blossom. We're still St. Patrick.
But I've got my shamrock right here.
That's right. You got to have it on to go in these houses.
This is beautiful.
Thank
you
you.
for all that you've done.
At Balanced Aesthetics, Weight Loss and Wellness, we believe everyone deserves to feel confident, healthy, and supported. That's why we've brought advanced aesthetic, wellness, and weight loss services together under one roof, right here in the heart of Dublin. With the latest advanced technology, including radio frequency facial skin tightening, laser facial skin rejuvenation, painless hair removal, and laser treatment of spider veins. Our aesthetic services are designed to deliver real results at accessible prices. Your weight loss journey matters to us. We offer insurance-friendly visits, flexible self-pay options, and personalized plans that keep you motivated and encouraged every step of the way. We also provide a range of wellness services, including hormone pellets and testosterone replacement therapy, all focused on helping you feel better from the inside out. Proudly serving Dublin with additional locations in Tifton and Eastman. Balanced Aesthetics, where wellness meets beauty. Financing available. Call 839-BALANCE or visit us at 1022 Hillcrest Parkway, Suite 104 in Dublin today.
We have two ladies that have already visited some of the houses, and we have someone who can give us a little bit of history of this house. But we're going to find out from these two ladies, mother and daughter, and see so far what have they enjoyed the most.
So the first house we went to was the Page house, and it was absolutely beautiful. She had lots of refreshments and drinks, and it was very vibrant, colorful, beautiful place. The second one we went was
the Christian
house.
Next door to it, and it was. I grew up with the Christians, so that made me. I love the house. It's just kind of quaint, and made me think about my dad. his office, so it was a beautiful office. And both houses are beautiful, but those are the only two we've been to so far.
Yes, and we're about to go
And
to the
right, and I know
Marble
you
House,
two are
and
from
it's
Dublin, just
beautiful.
like we were born
Born in
and reared
Dublin.
here. And did Mayor Kite tell you anything you didn't know about Dublin?
No, he did a great job with his presentation today.
Did you learn something?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
definitely.
great, good.
Amazing.
Yes.
Right,
amazing.
well,
And
good.
we can't wait to go into Miss Jane's house here. Every time I drive by, I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I
Kelly
love
said
that
this is
house.
one of my
It's got
favorite
so much
houses.
charm
Uh-huh.
and curb appeal.
Right.
So
Rails
beautiful.
Right.
So, yes.
Okay.
Looking
Well,
forward to the afternoon.
y'all go in and enjoy her house, and we're going to let her give us a little bit of history.
Okay.
But go in the backyard after you go through
Oh, we
the
will.
house.
Yes.
I know the
Yes,
yard's
thank
gorgeous.
Yeah, I've already told the people that are with me. Jane, it's yours now.
Okay, my name is Jane Garbutt, and my husband Charlie Garbutt and I own this house. It was originally the Birch House, built for the Birches in 1947. Before the Birch House was built, however, there was another house that sat closer to the street in front of this house, which was torn down so that this house could be built. We're only the third owner, maybe the fourth, since the house was built. This would be one of the newer houses on Bellevue. But anyway, we love being here. We've been here 28 years. And I'm not sure if there's anything else I can tell you that much about it.
Okay.
But thank you for coming and interviewing us today, though, and traveling around with Melody.
Thank you. And he's going to go now while we go inside the house and show you her gardens in the back. They are unbelievable. Thank you, and we'll see you in a little while. Meet this lady, and she bought her ticket last night at what time?
It was about 11:40 p.m.
About 11:40 p.m. And you're from?
North Carolina, from Monroe. And
From-
yes, my daughter is doing a competitive horse ride in Toomsboro today, and so I have seen her ride before, and she'd be on different checkpoints, and I thought to myself, I really want to go to Dublin. I've never been here, and I thought I wanted to do the tour of homes because it coincided with the horse ride and
Well,
this weekend.
great.
So
Wonderful.
It is enchanting.
So I just wanted to start because she was tell me what you said at the beginning about.
Oh, I
what
can't
we-
remember.
About you were telling us about what we have done.
Well, they've put so much deliberate care and effort. This genuine appreciation of Dublin is so obvious to see. I think the friendliest people I've met anywhere in my life. Don't tell my hometown this.
Oh, I won't, but I
it
sure
makes
will
me-
be I will be letting the city of Dublin know.
Truly, and it's quite sincere. Everyone is deeply appreciative of what this town has become and what it was. And I'm thrilled to be
Don't
here
we have a
today.
wonderful mayor?
Yes.
We're blessed.
He is so. It's hard to put it into words because he has a wisdom that's also with this bit of excitement. It's that perfect Venn diagram of youth and wisdom.
Right,
really.
right.
Yeah,
He's
great.
wonderful. I've
Yes.
known him since he's about 8 years old.
So you're very amazing.
Yes. That
That's
tells you know,
wonderful.
I was married too at that time. But anyway, we're so glad
Thank
you're in
you.
Dublin, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your tour.
Thank you. It is great.
Allen's Heating and Cooling is your licensed Amana equipment dealer. Trust Allen's Heating and Cooling to install and service your heating and cooling unit. Allen services all brands, and with the purchase of a new Amana, offers a lifetime compressor warranty. Call Sean Clark or any of his friendly staff at Allen's Heating and Cooling, your Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts.
Okay, I want you to tell me who you are and where you're from.
Shirley Adler, and I'm from Eastman, Georgia.
Great, and you're in a garden club there, and the name of your garden club is?
Eastman Garden Club.
Right, and the Camellia District is going to be visiting them on August the 6th. I think that's right. It's a Thursday, I know that.
I think so, yes.
And also, we're looking forward to it. Have you been to any of the other houses?
I have.
Which one is your favorite?
Well, I haven't been to the last two.
Uh-huh.
So, of these two, this is my favorite.
This one. And this is a wonderful house. You know, it used to be a hospital.
Really?
It was a hospital at one time. And in fact, I'm going to go get someone that's inside that knows the history, and I'm going to let them come talk to him and tell him about the history. He just can't go in with us. We're letting him film the gardens and the flowers and the things that garden club ladies like, and it's what makes your community. Just take a little time outside, do a little spruce, and it doesn't have to be you got to do a lot of planting. I mean, cutting your grass, keeping your weeds out, and keeping your shrubbery trimmed. It's beautification. Don't think you got to go out and spend a lot of money to make something pretty.
I'm AJ Lovett Schmidt. I am Griffin and Diane Lovett's daughter, and I grew up in the Lovett house. We moved here whenever it was 2000. My great-grandfather bought it, and then my grandfather, it went into his hands in around 1950 whenever he was having children. And he had 4 children, so they needed a lot of space. So they ended up moving in here, and so this is where my dad grew up as well. And then, like I said, in 2000, we moved in whenever my grandparents retired. And I've been here ever since. I've got 2 brothers that are 10 and 15 years older than me. Oh. So they were pretty much gone by the time we moved in here. And so, you know, it was me and my parents and a whole bunch of friends.
Exactly. I remember coming over here. Her mother and I worked on auctions out at Trinity Christian School for several years together and got to know each other very well, in good moments and in bad moments and in frustration moments. But we made it through those, and Diane and I have been friends since then, and we're just glad that they have opened up this part of the house for us to go through today. You enjoy taking pictures of the flowers and the gardens. We're going to enjoy the inside.
see a dream I'm dreaming? There's a voice inside my head says you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I'm making, lost with no direction. My faith is shaking. I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes you're gonna have to love. It ain't about how fast I get there. It ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb. The chances I'm taking, moves I'm making, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but there's a few moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going, and I've gotta be strong. Just keep pushing on. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to love. It ain't about how fast I get there. It ain't about what's waiting on the other side. Here's the there's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes you're gonna have to love. It ain't about how fast I get there. It ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the keep on moving, keep climbing, keep the faith, baby. It's all gone. It's all gone.
Bess Hartley, who will be moving on up come April. She will be the president of the Garden Club of Georgia. And you're visiting us from?
Fort Gaines, Georgia, 3 hours away on the Alabama state line. And it's really worth the trip. Erin Garden Club, as well as the whole entire city of Dublin, has definitely rolled out the red carpet and made us feel welcome and have the most beautiful homes. And we thank you so much for the fantastic fundraiser that you've done.
Right, well, thank you. And I'm just going to tell you this little story. The Lord and I had a talk several months ago. And I told him, I said, Lord, we've got a wonderful fundraiser coming up on March the 28th. Can you please give us the most perfect day? He blessed us. Temperature high for today, 68 degrees, sunshine, beautiful, azaleas blooming, dogwoods blooming. So we give him thanks for this wonderful day today.
And I am a minister of music. I am a true, fine Southern Christian gentlewoman, and I want you to know that this fundraiser has been prayed for and blessed with the most perfect weather that we could possibly have. Very good. Very
Glad you
good,
came.
Melody. Very
Thank
good.
you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great day so far. Miss Melody been leading us on this Aaron Garden Club tour of homes, and we're here today. Stopping for a minute, we've got Mr. Wayne Christian here with us. How you doing, Mr. Wayne?
Fine, thank you.
Yes, sir. It's a great day, right?
Pretty.
It is beautiful. The weather turned out just fine for us, and about midway through our tour here, it seems like you had a lot of traction, a lot of traffic in the house.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And now, I was told, here's my historian, Mr. Wayne. So tell us about this house.
Well, my brother and I bought it in 2001, but from a history standpoint, they call it the Crockett Brantley House, and it was built in 1907. And it was actually the Brantley. She was a woman, but she was married to C.C. Crockett, who was a judge here. And from there, they lived here, and there was a porch on this side and a balcony on this side that you worked from. But that got tore off before we bought it. So it had an additional coverage at that time. And in between, there was 3 or 4 landowners before we actually bought it. And we bought it in 1999. And it's been a pleasure to be a part of it since then.
Yes, sir. And now tell me about your part in the house since then, keeping it up, improvements, things like that. What have you done since you bought the house?
Well, when we bought it, it was in poor condition.
Right.
Very poor. A lot of water and whatnot. And we had to completely do the bottom floor because water had run in and messed it up. But that took some time and some money, but we got through.
That's right.
And thank the Lord, it's been a pleasure to work in it since then.
Yeah, thank the Lord for it. I mean, look around. It certainly has paid off, and now today participating in this house tour. Tell me about getting involved in what's going on here today.
Well, about 3 years after we bought it and we had it cleaned up, we was involved in the last one that occurred about
Awesome.
20 years ago. And since then, it's been a pleasure to work with it. Don, my brother, and I, we work on the bottom floor, and we basically deal with land and timber. And the boys upstairs is surveyors and engineers, and they utilize that part. So it's been a good combination for both of us to be able to utilize it.
It definitely has, and we are thankful for what you've done, Mr. Wayne, really helping to beautify our city here in Dublin. So thank you. Anything else we need to know here about the house? Any other historical facts, tidbits, anything like that?
Well, the only thing I can say from that standpoint, we spent a good bit of money on remodeling and getting it where it's at, and it's been a pleasure to work with it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wayne.
Hi, I'm Cliff Morris. I was the pastor here at First Baptist Church for 24 years. I'm retired now from that role, and I do missions in Zambia. We have today had guests coming in from all over Georgia Amazing some of the trips people have made to be a part of the Ramble today. I'm here to represent First Baptist Church in this beautiful building that was built back in 1907 and 08. So I'm going to give you just a few minutes, sort of a crash course on how this happened and why we're here today. This picture I found years ago in the hallway at First Baptist. I've rescued this twice. This picture has 5 pastors in it. And the gentleman up in the corner, I hope this is showing up on television well enough, with the really cool mustache, that's Millard Jenkins. Millard came to First Baptist Dublin in 1901 to be the pastor. He had a wife and a precious little girl, daughter, and they came here excited about being a part of this church family. And both his wife and his daughter died from some medical condition nobody could quite figure out, something that would probably be treatable today. And in his grief, he came to the church family, and he was strong in his faith, but needed time to heal. And so the church, of course, being gracious like they are today, said, you do what you need to do, and we're with you and behind you. And so he went for 4 months to England and Scotland and toured and saw everything you could see. At that time, in the early turn of the century years, Dublin was doing well and the church was doing well. And here where this building is today, there was another sanctuary that was much smaller that now is Second Baptist Dublin across town. And so Millard knew that they were talking about a building, and they had recruited him to come as pastor with a view to developing into that phase. And so here he is in Scotland touring around thinking about that. And he left and went over in February, came back in May. And when he got back, he got with the deacons and eventually the church committee and said, about the building, I've seen a lot of things in the last few months, but I think this is what we need to build. And so he showed them pictures and drawings of Melrose Abbey from southern Scotland, almost into England, which was a monastery like 500 years ago. The monasteries were done away with and declined, and this one closed out a couple of hundred years ago. So it's been in ruins with no roof on it. You have grass in the middle of the building, but it's a tourist stop for lots of people that are touring Scotland. It's a remarkable place. And so Millard Jenkins went and he saw that and came back with those drawings and said to the church, I think this is what we need to build. We need a smaller version of Melrose Abbey. Well, they took that, and maybe you can get a shot in a minute of the picture. They went to Macon and had the architect draw up the picture that's here, that's been hanging on the wall here ever since. And we got a number of pictures in the sanctuary, if maybe you can get a clip of that. But they used that picture to promote it to the church, and he preached about it and said, church family, I think it is time to go forward with a building project. They designed what's here today, and then Millard Jenkins moved on to another location. He became the pastor of First Baptist Abilene, Texas later for 26 years and was an evangelist preaching all over America, an amazing ministry and career. But he was replaced by the second guy in the picture, Alan Fort. And Alan was only 24 years old when he came to be the pastor of this church, was very young for this church. He had no Bible training, but he was brilliant and self-taught. His dad was a judge, and he was training to be a lawyer when he felt called to preach. And he was here for 4 years in the time frame when this building was built. They started in 2007, and the first church service was held in December of 1908. And he had moved on by then. Another pastor came, Taliaferro, came for a few years. Dedication Day was 1914, and this picture was taken on that day, and all these preachers came back. This is Timothy Calloway, who was the pastor at that time. They dedicated it at that time because that's when it was paid for. No dedication of a building until it's paid for. The message was, we're not done till we've really done our part and seen through on this being paid for. And so that's what they built, the modern building. This is a more modern picture taken recently without telephone wires of the sanctuary. So the sanctuary's gone through several renovations over its history. The last major one was about 15 years ago. The brick was 100 years old and turning loose. The mortar joints were bad. All that was retucked, the entire building. The mortar's better now than it was when the building was new. The interior floor, we had hoped to pull up the carpet and redo the pine floor. The floor was too damaged, so it's got a new oak floor. The pews were 1970s weak pews. They had some particle structure to them, and that was failing. So we've gotten new pews that should last till Jesus comes. They're solid oak and produced for the long haul. And so those were replaced. The stained glass window collection that's been here for all these years, since 1908, it was refurbished, nothing replaced, but everything cleaned and reframed, and the leading and all that was taken care of. So just a huge redo on this. We met for a year up in the Family Center across the street while all this project went on, and that's what we're here celebrating today and sharing with the community, and we're glad that you're watching. The table here, I'll take that Dr. Pepper off it. The communion table and the pulpit are original to the church. In the 1970s, when they did a renovation then, they took these out and took them down the hall to a Sunday school class and bought a new pulpit and a new table. And I was back in the choir room one day and heard a crash, and the pulpit had fallen out these steps and down on the floor and cracked like an egg. And so it was really unrepairable. And so we gave it away and went down the hall and retrieved these, which were original to the sanctuary, and brought them out. And the 1911 renovation, these were in my garage, and I refinished them then. That was a really great experience to be able to work on that and bring them back, and they've been in the sanctuary ever since. So it's a great old building with a lot of new technology that's been added. When this building was original, there were no restrooms in the building because that was considered inappropriate. There was no electricity, maybe a light or two early on, but not like we have today. No microphones, no heating, no cooling, but nobody cared. I'm getting a phone call, which tells you something about our times. So we had very little technology. In time, they had a fan on a pole that was in the middle that would circulate around to try to cool. The stained glass windows, this is hard to imagine, but they would tilt in and allow fresh air to come in. Now we wouldn't think of letting those tilt or move. Sorry about that. That's a commentary on our times. You can't even talk about old things without being interrupted by new things. But it was very primitive by standards then. Now we've got sound equipment and lighting and all kind of things that are different. But the gospel hasn't changed. It's the same story of Jesus and the risen Savior and the finished work of the cross and salvation by grace through faith in Christ alone. And so that same message that started, this is the bicentennial year for First Baptist Dublin, started in 1826. So the same message from 200 years ago is the same message today at First Baptist Dublin, that Jesus is the Savior and the Lord, and we come to salvation and eternal life through Jesus and what He's done for us. So I'm no longer the pastor, but the church family continues to invite the community and anybody that might be watching TV 35 to look to Jesus as Savior and Lord of your life. That's our message and our encouragement to you as you're celebrating St. Patrick's. Patrick, by the way, was a little bit different from how we celebrate him. He was a very simple but very brilliant and very godly, excited missionary. British, he was not Irish, he was British, and a missionary to the Irish people, remarkable individual. So it's great to celebrate his life every year in Dublin. But we need to understand he was all about Jesus and the gospel that Jesus came to present to the church. So thanks for coming and being a part of St. Patrick's celebration here with us in the sanctuary today. Thanks.
It's time to shop smarter, save bigger, and eat better right here at Dublin Piggly Wiggly. And while you're here, treat your family to the best beef in town, certified Angus beef. Top quality cuts, incredible flavor, and the kind of tenderness you can taste in every bite. So make your next stop Dublin Piggly Wiggly and come and see what we've been working on. Brand new floors, fresh paint, and updated decorations. And new cases throughout the store that make shopping cleaner, brighter, and better than ever. Dublin Piggly Wiggly, hometown proud, community strong, and always here to serve you.
Hi, this is Scott Thompson. We're at the Dublin, Georgia Old City Cemetery, just to the rear of the First Methodist Church here in Dublin. This cemetery was created about the year 1810 when the mythical or founder of Dublin, Jonathan Sawyer's first wife, Elizabeth McCormick Sawyer, died. He named the town, or the post office, Dublin, in honor of her McCormick family's ancient family seat of Dublin, Ireland. At the time the cemetery was created, it was at the far northwest corner of the town. And for the next 100 years or so, the city's residents, especially those, or really only those that were able to afford a marked grave, were buried here. Most people were either buried in their yards or just somewhere where they could find a spot to put them in. So what you see here are usually more of the wealthier people. Materials to build the graves were very scant. You could make some homemade concrete, but you couldn't get marble without going to North Georgia or way up north from here. The first grave is really a stack of sandstone. It's in the center of the cemetery. The man's name was Lawrence Vivian. He died here about 1820, 1822 while visiting the McCall family. Now the McCalls were probably the most well-known family here. The leader of that family, Thomas McCall, was a Revolutionary War soldier as a teenager. In his early 20s, he was named Georgia's Surveyor General. His most well-known design is he laid out the town of Darien in the late 1700s. He retired here, lived here in Dublin, but had a home down near the Sportsman's Club south of Dublin. He developed in the 1820s a fascination with grapes and making wine, and he used a lot of scientific principles and tests to take the local grapes that grew here and crossbreed or cross-pollinate with some of the European grapes. And today, 200 years later, he's recognized by the Georgia Winemakers Association as the founder of modern winemaking in America. And when he died in the 1830s, his estate had several thousands of gallons of wine stored. So there was either a lot of drinking going on or he was making money by selling the wine. There are approximately 35 soldiers of the Confederate Army here, one soldier from the Indian Wars of the 1830s. Too many children are here. Children were not blessed with good prenatal and postnatal health care, so a lot of little kids died very young. You can often see the symbols of that. There may be a rose with the stem is broken. It's usually on a little girl. There may be a short tree it's been cut off, but the stump is still showing to show that the little kid got cut off in the prime of life. There are lambs and doves, all to show peace. There are a few elevated graves that people who were afraid of being buried underneath the ground, so they just put the casket on top of the ground and build the vault on top of it. This was used as a city cemetery up until the last person, Cinderella Edwards, was buried here just before World War I, and then everybody went to Northview on North Franklin Street after that. For most of the 20th century, the cemetery was kept up by the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Daughters of the Confederacy. And in the late 80s, the city finally acknowledged that this was city property. And for the last 30 or so years, or more years, probably getting close to 40 now, 40 years, the city has maintained this property. come right through the front gate, you'll see a humongous cedar tree, which could have been here 150 years ago, but it has an oak tree growing out of the side of it. Someone earlier today told me that is called a friendship tree, where two trees are sort of married together. And there are two examples of that in the cemetery. So it's not a scary place, even if you come out here at 9 o'clock at night. Now some of the neighbors might be scary, but there are no ghouls and ghosts that will jump up and come out of the grave and get you. And I'm honored to come back and do this for one more time anyway by the Air and Garden Club and their tour of historic homes and historic places in downtown Dublin, Georgia.
Hello, my name is Paris Williams with Take It to Paris Home Care, your structured family caregiving provider. If you have a disabled loved one that's on Medicaid, did you know that you can get paid? Give us a call at 478-772-3044. We have some amazing team members that will be happy to help you and walk you through this process of getting paid to take care of your loved one. Again, my name is Paris Williams with Take It to Paris Home Care.
It's been a wonderful day here in Dublin, and we've met so many people. In fact, I am fixing to talk to the first person from Dublin that's been on the tour that I have talked to. We've talked to people from North Carolina, all different parts of Georgia, and you're from LJ. And so I'm just going to ask them, you've been through the tour. Yes. Okay. I want to know it can be more than one thing. What was your favorite of the whole tour? I'll start with you, Angela.
The favorite is that we got to see all types of architecture and all types of buildings. We got to see churches, we got to see homes, we got to see offices, and we got to see a lot of the homes that have been repurposed or remodeled for different things. And it's just everybody has done such a fabulous job in maintaining the homes, and several of the homes just like were homes we felt like we could move into, in the gardens. You know, a couple of them like the Craftsman home, the Beckham home, and the Garbett home. Their gardens were so pretty. And then of course, you know, all the renovations at the Page House, and just, I mean, all of them were unique in so many ways. And so it was just really nice. And for me, and like the Lovett home, I've lived here almost 40 years, and I've just like always dreamed of seeing inside some of these homes. And so it was such a pleasure today to get to do that.
Yeah, good. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you're Angela's sister.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a beautiful day. I mean, outside, and I thought everyone in the homes, they told you about them. I even thought from starting, you know, in the beautiful theater and the mayor giving the history, it kind of set the stage for, you know, what you were going to walk around and see. And I don't know everything as intimately as Angie does, right? So as I'm going through, I'm purely going from, you know, history and looking at them and marveling at the different places. And I did think that was what was so wonderful, even to seeing the cemetery and hearing the history of the residents here, you know, many years ago, and knowing the plans for it. You know, I think now I live in a small town in LJ, but that's one thing I've always loved about coming to visit her is it's the history, it's the preservation of the past, but also making the way for the future. And it was a lovely day. I mean, well done. I've enjoyed it so much.
Thank you. We're glad.
Really did a fabulous job.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Y'all made our goal. We had a goal, and our goal first was, we just hope for beautiful weather. Check that. We got to check that off earlier. Have a good crowd. We've had a great crowd. And we've met people from all over Georgia. Yes. In fact, we have met more people and seen more people we didn't know. And which is great because we've actually got to introduce people to Dublin, Georgia, and we have heard wonderful comments from visitors from outside, and Dublin welcomes you at any time, not just when we have special days like this and when we have St. Patrick's. There's always activities, and I know this summer we have the Crawfish Festival. It'll be downtown Dublin and all, but one thing I want y'all to know, we're thankful that all of y'all came and all of y'all supported this Historic Landscape Preservation Fund. It's the first time it's ever been in this part of Georgia. And so we're thrilled that we're here and that people came and they've learned about Dublin. In fact, people who moved away came back today and they hadn't been here for several years, like our president from the Garden Club of Georgia. Diane Capelli, she moved here when she was 10 years old when her daddy was transferred to Mohawk. And so anyway, we have enjoyed the day. We're thankful for the support we've gotten from the city, from, as she said, Mayor Cott, that his history that he shared with us today was unbelievable, things I didn't even know. But we're thankful for it. We're glad that we've had the opportunity to show people Dublin today. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Right, Miss Melody, we've been doing it all day. It's coming to a close, but what a day, what a ramble it's been.
It is, and it's just been so fun. And in fact, someone just told me that, in fact, the two ladies you interviewed, one of the ladies told me that they met someone from California that was here, visiting somebody and wanted to come to the tour.
And don't forget our sister city from Japan is here.
I know, we had them. International. Hey, we're an international city.
That's right.
We had our Japanese visitors that are here this week. They've toured. We've had a fun day meeting people, and like I said earlier, most of the people that I've talked on this interview have been from outside of Dublin.
That's right.
I think we've interviewed one person from Dublin.
Yeah, I mean, that's a testament to how special this event really is.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And we're at a special spot. This is our last spot of the tour. We've
Carnegie.
got the Carnegie behind us, the Episcopal Church here, and the library. 3 features.
The theater.
Sorry, not the library, the theater. I'm thinking of the Carnegie. Let's try that again. We got the theater here, we've got the Episcopal Church, and we got the Carnegie here behind us. So you get to hit 3 of our venues here as part of the Irish Ramble.
Right.
Let's talk about the Carnegie for a second.
Okay.
What do we know?
We know Andrew Carnegie, back many, many years ago, gave the city of Dublin $10,000 to build this structure.
Right.
And because the Carnegie family were very into literature and reading and education, and so they wanted to do libraries throughout. And so Dublin was fortunate way back then to get that money to build this. And as I've already told several people, as a child, I came here. This is where I basically had my first library books from. Was from the Carnegie Library, and people from Dublin who were still living in Dublin, I know they remember Miss Moore. She meant you were not to talk in the library. You couldn't whisper, you were there to read.
There you go. Wow. And that is awesome. And we got an art show in there today as well.
We do. Cool. There's been a wonderful art show in there. And the Carnegie now is used for venues. There's groups that have meetings there, receptions. I mean, it's a wonderful place for anyone here in the city to use at any time.
Absolutely. And Miss Melody, let's talk a bit about the Episcopal Church here. Of course.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm going to move this away.
All right. Yeah.
It's behind me.
Yeah. The first thing are these beautiful red doors. I mean,
the very popular red doors. I don't know. We were talking the other day. We wonder how many pictures have been made in front of those red doors all these years.
A lot.
That is the oldest public building in the city of Dublin.
And do you know what year? Possibly? I don't
know.
Put you
all
on the
I know
spot
is
like that.
It's been a long, long
it's been
time
a
ago.
long time, we know that.
But
and you said it's in the shape of a cross,
It's
right?
in the shape of
Isn't
a cross.
that amazing?
It is. It's got beautiful wood still in there. They've tried to preserve it as close to being original as it was back when it was first built. And so we're fortunate. Dublin is so fortunate to have a leadership that wants to restore your history.
Absolutely.
Everyone's history is valuable. You learn from your past.
That's
you
right.
can either make it better or you can pick out what was good and you keep that good.
Right.
You know, a lot of times you want to change stuff that's going great. You know, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
That's right. That's right. And I love what the mayor said this morning, talking about our respect for the past, but also our ability to innovate and move forward. And I think that was a great start to the day.
It was. I will have to say, our mayor, Joshua Cott, did an excellent job on history. In fact, I wish we could sell tickets to go hear him give us a good, lengthy thing on history. In fact, I think that might be a good project for a group.
Idea. I don't
That's
know.
right.
I don't know. And let's close it out. Of course, we started our day in the theater. Let's talk a bit about the theater here, our centerpiece, a cornerstone of downtown Dublin. Started in, I believe, the 1930s. What do we know?
In the 1930s. I don't know about a lot of the early history, but the other day, James Dill and I were kind of laughing about it as children. We remember you walked inside, and the concession stand was on the right side, and of course it had those big dill pickles that everybody liked, and popcorn. And you could walk down the hall or walk down the aisles, and your feet would stick because of the pickle juice and the Coca-Colas that were always spilled. And one of the people on the tour who's from out of town and came, she remembered her mother bringing her to the theater, giving her $1, and she got to spend the afternoon watching different movies and concessions. Can you believe watching several movies and concessions for a whole afternoon on $1?
$1, that's a good afternoon. And man, what a day today at the Irish Ramble, Miss Melody. And we're thankful to everyone who's joined us.
Exactly, we are. I mean, it's everybody. I have not heard not the first negative about anything. The compliments have been overflowing for our city, for our leadership, and for the great committee that put this all together.
Yes, ma'am. And you were a big part in that, so we'll give you your flowers there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us all day long today. The Irish Ramble, a tour of Dublin, Georgia.